Welcome to the Immigrant Take with Jess and Jem, your weekly rendition of being an immigrant here in Van City, looking at different perspectives of what it means to be a part of this beautiful community. Welcome back to another week of the Immigrant Take with Jess and Jem. We're here getting ready for back to school, the excitement, the nervousness, the anxiousness. We're here for all of it. How are you today, Jess?
I am very busy, but otherwise I am really good. And you?
I'm doing well too. I'm just, getting things settled as everyone's going back to school. I'm just trying to think of what we're going to be doing. So just planning the days ahead to start some homeschooling, preschooling, and hopefully, fingers crossed, all goes well. So today, we're actually going to be talking about parents getting ready for back to school, especially immigrant parents. If this is your first year, if this is your second year, if it's still dealing with getting the kids' mind right after COVID, all parents and families, kids and parents alike are excited, nervous, anxious about getting back into the school season. So today we just want to discuss some help for helping new parents who are navigating the Canadian system or parents who had a rough go with it in the past. Just some tips and tricks on how to adjust or make adjustments that might help you have a successful school year this year. So whether you're a parent, a teacher, or simply interested in supporting students, this episode is for you. Let's jump right in as we gear up to head back to school.
Yeah, so for me, I am so excited about going back to school, just September in general. I just love that the fact that everybody in my household becomes busy again and I'm not stuck having to figure out what activities to put in where and where to take my kids, because I know for sure they're gonna be in school and it's gonna give me some time to focus on me. I am so excited about that. So like you said, let's jump right in. As immigrants, it's completely natural for parents, children alike to have apprehension around back to school, especially go through the hustle of registering kids and then adapting to a whole new school culture plus the school timetable. So it's just really important for, I guess, everyone and our listeners and those that are coming in new to just understand that there is going to be unknown fear. There's going to be a lot of cultural differences, people adapting to new norms and challenges. But just remember that this journey is not something that they should be doing on their own. Again, having open conversations with their children, and not just the children too. I would add even going a step further and even connecting with the school and chatting with some of the teachers or the TAs, or even some of the parents that are going to be at the school, and just kind of chatting it up and networking and connecting with them and just sharing that fear or feeling of anxiety with them, because it is a journey after all, and it's completely natural for parents and children to feel anxious about the school year approaching. And yeah, I would even add that even those that are versed in the culture and the back to school norms, that we should be particularly mindful and compassionate towards immigrant families, because there is that added layer of concern that they're going to be having things around new surroundings, cultural differences, and heightened sense of fear. So again, parents, they're going to worry. It's a natural thing to worry about how their children are going to fit in and how they're going to succeed academically. And similar to kids, they're going to be feeling fear of just new beginnings and being accepted by their peers, especially those that are coming in from a new country and not necessarily moving with their grade from the previous year. Some might be just having to learn how to make new friends or just coming out of their comfort level. So yeah, I feel like we definitely need to be navigating some of those fears that a lot of parents and kids are going to have, and even the teachers as well.
I totally agree. I can remember my experience when we first immigrated here. I think I was 7 years old, and I started in grade 2, but that first feeling, because my siblings had come ahead of me and they had a bit of experience. They had already made their friends going into their classes with. but I came like right at the beginning. I didn't even get to make any friends during the summertime or anything like that would be going to school with me. So like my first experience, one, I didn't speak English. Two, I had I don't know, back home in Uganda when you're going to school, they cut off all your hair as a girl, right? So like I came with that haircut here.
Wow.
Yeah, I came with that haircut here because I had all this hair. And then my grandfather's like, well, they do this at all the boarding schools here. So you're going abroad. They must do it there. So he cut off all my hair. So I was already not feeling
Oh no.
myself because I had lost that part of my identity just so I could come to Canada and attend school here. So I had my identity was confused. I didn't speak English. I had no friend going into the classroom with me. So I had a lot of emotions at that time. I remember my first week. I thank God for my teacher, Mrs. Corduroy. I will always remember you were my first teacher in Canada. But she was so sweet. She reached out to my mom because she knew I was like one of the new students and they had talked that I don't speak English. And right away, they like partnered me up with one girl who was very friendly, very nice, very outgoing, who, because if you know me, I'm a quiet person. So I'm not like my brother who's like, hey, I'm here. What's up? I'm like, hi. So it takes a little bit for me to warm up, but I'm so grateful that like my mom and my teacher reached out and were able to partner me with that girl, Tammy. I'll never forget you either, Tammy Bridges, because she literally helped me assimilate into my classroom. It took me 3 months to speak to anybody else in that first interaction in my education in Canada. But at least I had her, like, if I didn't understand something or if everyone was going out for recess, she'd be like, okay, it's time to go out. Or if it's like, let's go to the Cubbies to get our lunches, then she'd be like, okay, like, she'd give me those cues that maybe I didn't know all by myself. Like it was such a great help. I do want to encourage parents that if you have a child who might be slow to warm up, let's say, or might not be too eager about getting out there, maybe reach out to the teachers, reach out to the TAs, reach out to the community resources offered by the school and see if they have a plan or something in place where your child could get a buddy, or maybe they could let you know what's happening during the week so you can prep your child at home. Like, oh, these are the exciting things that are going to be happening at school. Maybe you want to be a part of it. Maybe you want to get ready and be as excited about what's happening in the school so that your child will also be excited about it, right? Something for you guys to both build your bond with your child as a parent, but as well with the community, the school community that you're going to be going in. I think it's a very important part of like navigating or overcoming fears and anxieties of heading into a new school or a new school culture, depending if you're moving from abroad or just moving to the next town over,
Yeah.
It's really crucial for parents to create an environment where children feel supported and understood because it's the one way we encourage open communication. If you know that your child is really excited about school, like say you have someone who's outgoing who wants to like join the fashion club or be in the drama club or play a sport, then being excited about what they're excited about will really give you that room or that space or platform for open communication for them to open up about other things because they see that you're interested in what they're interested in. So I feel it's really important for parents to really take a child's concern and validate their feelings. So if they're anxious, don't be like, oh, it's okay, we all go back to school, but maybe open up the conversation as to why are you anxious or what can we do to support you over this anxiety, especially if you feel like your child might be bullied because they have an accent, let's say, or they have a funny name. Like my name is Jemima Fully. And let me tell you, from grade 2 till today, the Aunt Jemima jokes never stop. So like, how do you overcome that? Like for me, I have 6 brothers, so those jokes will always be there. So luckily I had a big family and joking and making fun of each other is not a big deal. But if maybe they're an only child and they're not used to that kind of thing, like being able to laugh at yourself is one way to let other people get close to you and for you to make connections, to make friends, I feel, if they're not doing it in a mean or harassing way, right? but being able to validate that. How do you feel about that? Is it hurtful? Is it funny? Like, being able to create that platform for them to talk to you about it really will support your child in distinguishing who they are and where they want to go, whether it's in making new friends or exceeding academically. You have to have that place where they're able to come to you and know that you're going to validate their concerns, validate their excitement, validate their feelings, so that they're able to begin to create their own stories of resilience, of adaptation, of what it is for them to be an immigrant, what strength they need to draw from. Maybe you can share stories about when I was a child. People love to say, when I was a child, I climbed the mountaintop and got rice and brought it. But the stories about what really happened when you went through school, and the funny stuff, the sad stuff, the hurtful stuff, the great stuff that brought pride and joy. If you're able to share those things with your children as they go back to school, as they want to overcome their fears or anxieties or share in their excitement, I think it's a great way to start in building their own stories of strength, of resilience, of confidence. Because confidence is key when it comes to embracing new opportunities. And the new school year brings boundless new opportunities for your child to exceed, your child to gain new skills, your child to become more open, more out there, your child to make new friends, boundless opportunities for new things to happen. So you have to be ready to be there to support them in that. I know one thing that's usually difficult for immigrant parents and children alike is the inability for their parents to maybe show up at certain moments, because besides being just in this new culture for school, they're also in a new community where they have to have jobs, they have to figure out life for the family to support them. But just this small thing of being able to ask your child, how do they feel, or what are they going through, or what's happening in school, just show that interest will not only build your relationship, but it will promote them to grow and build other relationships. We know parents have the world on their shoulders, especially when they're coming to country, to new cultures. But one thing I know most immigrant parents treasure is their children and the opportunities that they have come to bring for their children. So one way to alleviate maybe not being able to stay bonded is to just have that platform of where you can show up with just a how was school today? What did you learn today? What was your favorite part of the day? Just to stay connected.
Absolutely right. I do believe in parents really giving that space for their children to express like their emotions. Because I feel like that's something that oftentimes I know around a lot of immigrant family and households, they don't really allow their children to express certain emotions, right? That kind of holds you back from developing. They're either going to turn out to say that should be stronger and tougher than that, or B, they're going to say, I'm sorry, just suck it up and move forward. Because what they just came from, maybe they're coming from a war-strict environment, and now they're in a land where there's a lot of different opportunities. So all they know is just to be strong and not or expand on that emotion. So I feel like as parents and as residents, we definitely need to have that dialogue where parents can create that space for their children to be able to express themselves, whether good or bad, because that's what's going to build those resilient children. And sometimes those tough conversations is what's going to strengthen that family dynamic, that nuclear household, and help them strive for better in terms of like education. And of course, when children see that, parents become that leader that the children need in like households and in the community. How can instill leadership? There's amazing work for parents, especially parents of newcomers, that they can actually tune into or they can actually get resources on. I know a lot of them, because of COVID, has turned more virtual things, which is great, because if you do miss it, you're able to maybe tune into some of the pre-recorded ones and then just listen to it, because I feel like those are such valuable resources to help parents become that leader, that kind of role model that the children need to be successful. It's important to encourage like children to like take leadership roles, whether in school clubs and sports, in the community. It's a great way for them to really boost their self-esteem and to help them integrate into the new environment and build on connections and meet new people. Parents can foster leadership by involving their children in like some of the decision making at home, whether it's something as simple as what the plan for dinner or what they would like to have for lunch, or something as fun as maybe having a family group activity at the end of the week or at the end of the month. That's something that definitely is worth exploring for all families, whether you're new or you're an immigrant or you've been in the country for a while and you're a citizen. I think that these are great resources to really build resilient children. Outside of that, it can also be just encouraging them to join like a lot of school clubs. I know from grade 4 and upwards all the way to grade 12, there are a ton of sports, from volleyball, basketball, netball, badminton. Oh my goodness, there's so many sports that kids can join. And if they're not a sports guru or fanatic, they can definitely join some of the more calmer activities, such as being part of the leadership club or maybe the sports council or just even the cheer team at the school. So they can definitely dive into all that. And it's important for parents to really encourage children to be a partaker in all of these different activities. Also, yeah, joining like some community organizations where they can actually take on leadership roles is also a great resource. I know within the city of Surrey, and I can imagine the same for all the other municipalities out there, that there's a lot of activities and community resources and organizations that actually have these fun events for kids, especially after school. So it can be like the Boys and Girls Club. I used to hear that they have amazing after school programs for kids right after school. So from like 2:30, 3 o'clock, all the way up until 5, 6. Those are such a great way for kids to actually get themselves involved in some of the community organizations, and really for them embracing some of their heritage and sharing some of their cultural traditions. I believe children will definitely develop a real strong sense of pride and belonging in their community and beyond.
I totally agree. I know definitely in Vancouver and Burnaby, there's the neighborhood houses. I don't know if they're out there in Surrey, but I know like South Burnaby Neighborhood House or Mount Pleasant Neighborhood House, those they usually have like after school programs for like youth to encourage them to join in to like share their culture and traditions, or do exactly just that, have opportunities to volunteer in leadership roles, where they get out to clean up the community or they get out to put on events for the community through those organizations like the neighborhood house. And in a place as so diverse as like Surrey or Burnaby here, I know that also opens up a platform for you to not only share your culture, but to partake in others' cultures as well, whether you guys are doing like potlucks or whatnot to try different foods, or events where you're showing off like your heritage. Like I know during Diwali, they usually have like big events where the lights are celebrated and things like that. So those are usually fun things for like, let's say older, like maybe between 12 to 16, for children to join in and be a part of like those youth centered activities. So not only do they get to get out in their community, volunteer, be a part of something, but they also get to share their heritage, pride, and they also get to make new friends and continue to learn more English if they're ESL inclined, let's say. It gives you that opportunity to practice and to learn more about like the Canadian traditions and culture as well. So yeah, I definitely think allowing your kids to partake, whether it's in sports club, debate club, chess club, badminton, or just get out into the regular community to volunteer at small community organizations, I think it's a definitely good way to help as you move into the new school year to become more emboldened or more stabilized within your local community. Because we do definitely want to bridge that gap that involves adapting to the new culture and embracing the local norms and customs. One thing I know most parents or even kids worry about, because I used to worry about it myself, is lunches. What am I going to take for lunch? You know, is it going to be the quick Lunchables, or is it going to be the curry and rice my mom made me? You know, or even holidays and things like that. Parents can actively engage their children to learn more about these norms and find ways to blend their own culture and practices. So if you're at a school maybe where they don't offer microwaves for your children to warm up their foods, maybe you want to do like a more Canadian stylized lunch for them that won't having them eat cold food, but have a food that's different and having kids ask a lot of questions, especially if it's at that tender age where those questions can be turning awkward. So I feel it's important for parents to embrace being able to be fluid between the different things that they could learn and embrace in the Canadian culture while they're incorporating their traditional culture as well.
Dress code is also something that causes kids to sometimes lose confidence or be hesitant in showing up as who they really are, depending on if your school wears a uniform or if your day clothes like regular clothes. So that's something to also consider as they go back to school, to be active, to be engaged, to show up for themselves. So understanding what might be their style or giving them room to share who they are with you without judgment is something that can help your child feel confident in their appearance. Collaborating with your child to find a balance between what the school's dress code is and who they are also while expressing their personal style is something that will allow you to bond with your child as well as promote them with connecting to the new community that they're in. This is also another opportunity for you to integrate your culture, your heritage, if it's something that your child connects with in their style. You can share the fabrics or the textiles that they wear or they enjoy with their classmates who may have not seen or witnessed something like that before. Again, another talking point for them to connect with others, to build relationships, and to make friends. So I think it's about finding a balance between what works and what doesn't work for you and for your child. It can be tricky, especially in those teenagers as your child is finding themselves, or even tricky when they're just little and just deciding what they think they should wear to school or not wear to school. But again, it's another spot where parents and children can talk with one another and encourage one another and promote each other in building trust and building confidence and building relationships with others.
Yeah, so dress codes can be like a huge issue depending on what school you're going into. So if you're going to say a private school whereby you are forced to wear uniforms, then that's great because then your parents are buying the uniform for the entire school year, and there's nothing that the parents really need to worry about in terms of school gear for the children while they're at school. It's not the case, of course, for public schools where people of all different income levels could perhaps shop from either a thrift shop to buy accessible clothing, or maybe go into the mall during a lot of the back to school sales are happening now, or maybe if you want to just kind of do a one quick stop shopping where you do your groceries mixed with clothing and school supplies. Definitely going into like department stores such as Walmart, or I even believe Superstore. Yes, they have all of that. So I really want to just emphasize there is time for people to really focus on working on schooling outfits and stuff like that, but it shouldn't be I would say, issue for parents, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of low cost clothing outlet depots to pick clothes, or if they have it within their budget, they can definitely go into the mall and buy things that are on sale there. So really connecting with their children and figuring out what best suits them, as well as respect you as a parent, because at the end of the day, when children do reach a particular age, typically around like the teenage age, they definitely do pick up their own personal style, which might be against you as a parent, your own style that you wish for your household, or you wish for your children. So I also want to just encourage parents to really allow their children to really showcase themselves, and if possible, showcase like their cultural heritage while respecting school guidelines.
Totally agree. Again, stretching that dollar may be a concern for some, especially right now with inflation of everything. But there are organizations out there that do help new immigrant families, newcomer families with getting their kids back to school. I know the Salvation Army has a drive for backpacks where they help families that are of low income or newcomer families that may be struggling with getting their children back to school supplies, including vouchers for their thrift stores to get them clothes and things that they might need. So you might want to reach out to your community resources, such as the Salvation Army, such as a neighborhood house, that might be able to help you with finding or locating what you may be able to get to help your children feel comfortable as they go back to school. Because what you do wear does, again, form your identity, I believe. So if you're comfortable with what you're wearing and what you're in, you're more likely to be more confident to show up for yourself, even as you're going back to school. We do want to ensure that we're helping our children be the best that they can be. And sometimes that does come down to the nitty gritty of maybe what they're wearing or maybe the backpack that they have. So if you are having a difficult time, just don't be shy to reach out to those community resources that are available to you. One thing my dad used to say is that Canada is the land of milk and honey, and whatever you need, Canada has got it for you. So don't be afraid to tap into that milk and honey of Canada if you need to. I know a lot of newcomers are shy or shy away from asking for help because, again, like Jessica mentioned, we're coming from places where we have to always show that we're strong. We always have to show that we can make it. We don't need help. But sometimes, guess what? You do need help. So don't be afraid to ask for help, because one of the things about Canada is that they say Canadians have open arms. They're willing and ready to help when needed. And that's, again, one thing I love about Canada. So we really are rooting for all of our kids as they head back to school this year. We're really hoping that the school year will go well. And we just want to emphasize that it's an exciting chance to grow and learn, both for children and for parents. Parents can do a lot to help their children foster confidence as they join in, their excitement and willingness to embrace new opportunities. So if your kid's like, I want to try out for a sports team, but I'm afraid, don't be like, oh, you can't. Give them that boost of confidence that they need, that they can do anything. They can be anything. You know, that's what we always used to hear when you were young. The sky is the limit. You just have to shoot up to the moon and fall among the stars, sort of thing. Immigrant families can navigate this period with grace. So let's just try and remember that going back to school can be a transformative experience for everyone involved. But with open communication and embracing our identities, our cultures, our heritages, because a lot of us come from rich heritages that promote confidence, promote pride in yourself, promote excellence, promote striving for success and becoming successful. So remembering those things that are part of our cultural identities are something that we can share in our new communities that we're in, whether it's to succeed academically or socially. It's something that we can tap into as immigrants to show not only our resilience, but all of our talents and abilities. So it's not just about adapting into the new Canadian culture that we're going to be immersed in, but it's enriching it with our own experiences and perspectives. So to our listeners, we just want to encourage you to remember that this back to school is a journey and an opportunity for learning, for growing, and embracing the richness of this diverse community we now call home. So as always, stay curious, stay compassionate, and keep powering young minds. Until next time, this is Jess and Jem on the Immigrant Take. We'll catch you next week.